Well, today we start our second in our 5-part series on self-love. And today we're going to talk about authenticity, the authentic you. And I found that there's no better way to talk about it than to reflect back on last night where I went and saw the movie Rock of Ages, with Tom Cruise playing Stacey Jacks. And in that movie, it was really sort of interesting because it starts out that there was a young man who was at this nightclub that's famous for producing famous musicians. And what he was doing, he was bartending. He was doing all the grunt work, but he was a singer. And then, of course, in the musical, in walks the beautiful young lass. And she's a singer from Oklahoma. And the eyes connect, and there is a sparkle there. And they talk about this idea of their dream. And they have this authenticness that brings them so together. But in this, as the story goes on and the music keeps going, he gets the opportunity to be the warm-up act before Stacey goes on stage. But he sees something that he misinterprets with his girl. And all of a sudden, he gets on stage and he's a hit. And so the producer of Stacey comes over and he gets him to sign a contract. And this guy is being so authentic. He had this image from when he was a child about what type of singer would be, what type of band, what type of music. And that image was brought out this soul. And then when he got with this guy tried to market him to the people, and they said no. And what they did at that time is they conformed him, took him out of his clothing, out of his music, and they made him a part of a boy band. Very, very different. And so he was selling his soul because the producer said to him, he wanted to go after his girlfriend. He wanted to fix things up, and the producer said, don't. Because heartache is something you'll get over. Because what I will give you is fame and money. And so he went on and he went on through this thing. And as the story kept going, he finally realized at the end that the fame was not worth it. He had forgotten who he was authentically. And so he came back and there was this great concert. But there was this line that when Stacey Jazz was being talked to by this interviewer from Rolling Stone magazine. And he's done these interviews, and he's a rock star. And she says, well, what's going on? I know you do this. I know you, I know you, I know you, I know you. And all these people are saying to him, I know you. And he would look at him and he would say, no one knows me but me, because I'm the only one who goes into my mind. I'm the only one who goes into my mind. So the question I want to ask you today is, how have you gone into your mind? Have you truly come away and found the authentic you? So let's explore that. From the standpoint in religious science, we talk about it all the time, that you are a unique physical expression of God. Would you agree? There's no two human beings alike. Would you agree that you are a emotionally unique expression of God? Would you agree that intellectually you are a unique expression of God? Spiritually, you're one with God. And you see, that's the common element. That's where there is this power, this presence that radiates as all of us. That doesn't change. No matter what we say, what we do, we can't get away from the fact that we're the individualization of God. And as that individualization of God, the power that we are is always expressing, and that's individualized. So the idea is, from an authentic standpoint, are we consciously using the power? Are we being authentic with our inner beingness? So to be authentic, what do we have to do? We have to know who we are and we have to decide where we're going to be. And most of the time, are we being authentic? I watch relationships, and one of the partners will say, I'll be so much happier if you would only be this way. Another one will say, if you would just do this, the relationship would get so much deeper. What's happening then? Are you allowed to be authentic? I'll be very honest with you. In my marriage of 39 and a half years, if my wife were to come to me and say, Lee, I want you to be this way, my authenticity would go in the exact opposite direction. Because what is the most important thing to us? The freedom to be me. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't consider what she was asking, but I am not going to sacrifice my authenticity for any human being, any movement of any sort, because I did not come forth into planet Earth at this time to not be the fullness and allness of God that I choose to be. I did not come here to be like my teachers wanted me. I did not come here to be like my parents wanted me, like my children would like me, like my wife may would want me. But I think my wife automatically knows that she is dealing with the perfection of God. And Kristen just took a big, long sigh as I did this. But it's the truth. So we just fondle in the truth. We just stay there because it's a good thing. One of the things that we find is that when we're not being our authentic selves in a relationship, the person we're with is not authentic. Because likes attract. So we have to be authentic to attract an authentic partner. And when we're not authentic, and let's say we find that because we're not authentic and our partner's not authentic because it's the law of attraction working, we don't have a very good relationship. And so because of that, the relationship goes in a direction and we end up parting. That's happened many times in our lives, not just with intimate relationships, but with friendships and family and people. We go in different directions. That's just how it moves. But the thing that we have to keep in mind is that if we go from an inauthentic relationship and we take ourselves into a new environment, into a new relationship, and we don't become authentic, it becomes a lot of work. You see, when they say that relationships are not easy, that they require a tremendous amount of work, it's if you're trying to fit yourself into someone's mold or you're trying to fit them into the mold that you've created for them, in which case there can be no authenticity. If there's no authenticity, then it is a forced relationship. And when you force things, they're never going to be easy. The greatest tool that I've found that helps me to be with more people so that I don't have to find people that are vibrating at the same level in every way that I am, is I can take any human being and find a quality that they're authentic in, and I can be authentic back in that quality. And from that one connection, we can have a relationship. Does that make sense? You see how you find that one idea that you can vibrate with that person, where there is a connection, and you focus on that. And when you leave that person, you go to another, you find out, where can I connect there? But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. When you become authentically yourself, you will only attract authentic people into your life. You cannot attract those that are not authentic. They will slide away. But the key to being authentic is to know who you are. We talked about last week a bit of that, so I want to cover a little bit of that, and I want to expand upon it. Because we talked last week that there's one infinite power and presence, everywhere present, always will be. And that power and presence, whenever it did, some people say 14 billion years ago, could have been 10 years ago, who knows? But it decided to individualize itself. In the individualization of itself, there we are. We are the individualization of that. So that's who we are. But here, each of us has a specific DNA. And that DNA is based on the qualities that we've decided are the most important qualities in our life. And when we understand what are those top 5 qualities that are important in our lives, we live from them, and that becomes unique. So to know who you are, to be authentic, you first have to go within, understand you're the individualization of the one, but then, okay, I now understand that, but now I have also my human experience, my human form. So what am I going to do? How am I going to express and experience that? Well, then it's going to come to, are they the qualities that I've decided on, or are they the qualities that my parents have decided on? That I should be this, I should be that. See, my number one quality is spiritual awareness. After doing 3 years of work on that, spiritual awareness is my number one, because it's not about spiritual growth. I want to take a moment and go there, because you're already as spiritual as you can possibly be. You just don't recognize it. So it's not about growing into something, it's becoming aware of something that's already there. So spiritual awareness is number one, because as I become aware of the Christ presence, of the Buddha presence that I am I not all powerful? Here's the other thing. I also say that I do it joyfully. Because, you know, you can become aware of the Christ presence or the Buddha presence, and it can be a pretty painful thing. You could have a dark night after the soul, one after another. And I'm saying, well, wait, I'm a conscious creator. So I'm going to create it, and I'm going to do it with joy, so that when I meet people, I can do this joyfully. It can be an easy thing. It does not have to be a difficult thing. See, then I go to my third quality for myself is that I love to talk, I love to teach, and I love to counsel and help people find their spiritual truth. Because the idea is when I do that, I become more spiritually aware as I see the truth of the people that I'm talking to. So that value, my third value, is simply a means to support my first value. See, I've come to the understanding for myself that with spiritual awareness, I have everything. But now from spiritual awareness, how am I going to be in the world? I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be an inspiration. I am going to be a playful little boy. And sometimes when I get on stage, I can be a rock star. Wasn't that cool? I would love to just take my shirt and rip it off and show you my tattoos. But I first have to go get my tattoos. I haven't gotten a tattoo yet. I've been playing with that because in my own individualization, I'm wondering what that tattoo may look like. Maybe we'll have in the next couple months a contest. What would be the perfect tattoo for Reverend Lee? I don't know. Maybe you have a better idea. You're God in expression. You can show it. And then maybe after we decide on the tattoo, maybe we'll have a contest as where that tattoo would be. Now, you might not ever get to see the tattoo depending on where you put it there. Isn't it great to play? You see, one of the things that we find that when we get into the spiritual journey, sometimes we get real serious. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to be joyful. We're here to create. We're here to expand our awareness. We're here to experience life and to authentically experience so that the allness of God has a greater experience because of our uniqueness to experience it like it's never been experienced before. So every moment of every day, being authentic, we get to play and become more because in our authenticity, there can never be boredom. Because if we're authentically being the one, we're consciously creating and recreating anew because we were never meant to be stagnant. So if you're having a Groundhog Day one day after another, or you're in a relationship with someone, a friend of some sort, and the conversation is always the same, who has the power to change that? Raise your hands. You do. Here's the best way that I know, is if you understand your values and you understand your truth, you can simply change it by, when you're in relationship or you're in with that person, you ask a different question. When someone's into their drama beyond anything, and we have a lot of drama in the world, would you agree? Just go to the television. Everything is based on drama. So you're in that situation, and someone's about to download, let's not use the word download, let's use the word throw up all of that garbage into you, and if you allow that garbage to be thrown into your lap, you now will start that vibration and you'll start to have that experience. When they're about to do that and you're catching it, so you know, I know you've had a tough time, and I know things have been a challenge. Tell me what you would like to experience now that's different from what you're currently experiencing. I would really like to hear where your clarities come that you want to have next in your life. You see, not only is that a question that brings them back into alignment with you, but empowers them to come up with an answer that will serve them to be a more conscious creator. See, the questions we ask ourselves and that we ask others are the most important things that we do, because with the questions we get our answers. So let's say you're being authentic and you're running your own business, and your business is at a great level, but you know it can grow more. What you do then is you expand your authenticity and say, I'm worthy of so much more than I currently have. And when you open yourself up to be the authentic leader of a business that's beyond what you have right now, you do that with your every thought, you do that with your every action, and the universe says, of course, and it brings you all the right people that allow you to step back, expand your business with ease, because you are holding the mental image that is the slide, that is in the projector, that is the power of God shooting it out into the universe, and that what gets created. You see, everything is in the slide we create through our thoughts and our words. The question I ask you is, are you being authentic? Are you being the person who at the tender age of 3, 4, 5, 8, 9 years of age had no limitation that would reach out and try anything? Or are you the person who has allowed yourself to get boxed in by what your parents have told you, by what society has told you, by what the television has told you, by what other church leaders have told you, by what the politicians want to tell you? Or are you the pureness of God authentically expressing itself today, now? And here's the beauty of the power that we are. It does not matter what we've done in the past. The past is irrelevant. Whether you've been divorced 1,000 times, whether you've been married once, whether you've never been married. Doesn't matter what your age, doesn't matter what your sexuality, it doesn't matter what your ethnicity, it doesn't matter your socioeconomic income or level, it doesn't matter anything. Because when you connect to the power that you are unlimited in your ability to create. And if you get in front of any minister or any teacher, any practitioner in the New Thought movement, in religious, in science of mind, in unity, or any of them, and they in any way say that you are limited, you run. Because the authenticity that you are will automatically tell you, I was not brought here to be limited. I was brought here to be free, to expand. The other day, I've got a 6-month-old yellow lab female who's like a teenager, and she's got more energy than you can shake a stick at, and we have wood floors through most of our house. And I saw her, and she had that look. You know, that look where she's going to pounce on something? And so I spent 5 minutes chasing her around the dining room table, watching her feet not being able to grasp the hardwood floors. And so her feet are just going like 1,000 miles an hour. When I was done, she looked up, smiled at me, and I knew she was saying, "You're young again." You see, that's the beauty of it. Just because we have a chronological age, we do not have to live in that life. We can choose to be young now. We can choose to be free now. But here's the thing. We have to decide who we are and how we, you, choose to be in the world now. Not in the past, not limited, but choose now. And I'm looking at you, and I see your perfection. And if you cannot see your truth, come up to me afterwards and I'll tell you. Come up to Jean afterwards as a practitioner and she'll tell you. If it's not today, come up to Roxanne when she's here and she'll tell you. Will my board please stand up? These 4 board members that are the board today, if you want them to see your truth, you talk to them. Because we work at that. We train each other. Please sit down. When we are in our board together, we practice this. We talk about the beauty and the magnificence and the qualities and strengths of each other. It is not the work that we do on the board that's important. It's who we are while we're doing the work. Do you see? We've gotten the doingness in front of the beingness. And the beingness is the authenticity of God. We're creating a new model at Agape. I heard it once said, and I forget who said this, it was Bishop Spong said this, that Christianity is the greatest philosophy that has never, ever been practiced. And I'm telling you that my goal is to make Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism, that philosophy of life becomes an everyday occurrence at Agape. Are you with me? Do you want to feel that? Are you willing to be in a place of no drama? Are you willing to be in a place where you are empowered, where you empower others? That's what this is about. If that is not who you are, there are many churches around. I invite you to find them. Because at Agape, we never settle for second. We're without limit here. We're going for the moon. And once we get to the moon, it's Venus. And then we're going to another solar system because we are unlimited.